Unit number 3. Unit number 3 portion part 2. Part 2 says parallel processing. Now notes में अगर आप लोग देखोगे ना order, तो parallel processing basic concepts, then we have few key concepts and later on we have organizational methods. हम लोग second वाला आज के लिए skip करेंगे. We would try to understand what parallel processors are primarily and later on we would strictly move to the organizational methods. Right? This is going to be the order for today's class. Skipping the mediocre portion, jumping to the last. 3 topics are there under parallel processing, unit number 3. Now to begin with, parallel processing. Previously also we have discussed parallel processing के basics, है ना? Parallel processing होता क्या और कैसे achieve होता है? Now one thing that is very much associated with parallel processing is, this is a concept of supercomputers. What? Supercomputers. So wherever heavily computational power is required, we would deploy what? We would deploy the concepts of parallel processing. Done? Now, to understand in true sense what parallel processing is, we would try to compare it with traditional processing, right? Now, here we would understand the traditional processing methods and here parallel processing. I would be abbreviating parallel processing as PP. Done? Now, for example, let's say this is a CPU, a normal traditional CPU. Now, I give it a heavy task. Now, as the name suggests, the nature of my task is heavy. Nature of my task is heavy. Now, give me certain example of a heavy task. Gaming, right? Gaming. Now, why gaming? Why we are calling gaming as a heavy task? Pen it down. Gaming is classified as a heavy task. Gaming is classified as a heavy task because it includes audio, it includes graphics, it includes calculations and it includes render. 4 things: audio, calculations, graphics and render. Now, audio is understandable, है ना? Audio is what? Game include even visual aid and even audio aid. Now, coming to graphics, है ना? Graphics are also a integrated part of games. Now, moving on to calculations. See, calculations are important. Why? Come sit. Calculations are important. Why? Let's say if you are playing a game, GTA Vice City, सबने खेला है, I believe. नहीं खेला, नहीं भी खेला तो भी आप ऐसे समझो, GTA Vice City में क्या होता है? Every movement is tracked. आप एक गन यूज कर रहे हो, कितने बुलेट्स आपने फायर करे, कितना आपके पास बैलेंस है ना? एक पाथ आपको देते हैं कि आपको अपना टास्क कंप्लीट करने के लिए इस पूरे पाथ को कवर करना है. दिस इज योर डेस्टिनेशन. नाउ एज यू मूव अहेड, पाथ कम होना चाहिए, है ना? इवन वो गन फायर वाला एग्जाम्पल, द बुलेट्स माइनस में जाने चाहिए. तो ऑल दीज थिंग्स require what? Require calculations at the back end. Now, since you require calculations, you need render. Render and calculations are sort of associated. How? I will tell you. देखो, render क्या करता है? Calculations के according graphics को manage करता है. जैसे आपकी एक लाइफ कम हो गई तो नीचे वो बैटरी में, let's say if you have 3 lives, तो 3 bars है, एक लाइफ कम होती है, एक बार कम हो जाएगा, राइट? आप बुलेट्स फायर कर रहे हो, इट इज शोइंग 6 बुलेट्स एट द बॉटम. द मिनट यू विल स्टार्ट टू फायर, बुलेट्स क्या हो जाएंगे? -1/1. Now this shows what? This shows graphics according to the calculations. As you move ahead, even the whole scenario of the game, है ना, जो उसका visual aid है, even that is changing, right or not? So render is what? Render is arranging or dominating graphics according to your calculations. Now all these things again are associated with the heavy task named game. अब ये जो गेम है इसको बैकएंड में सपोर्ट इतनी सारी चीजें कर रहे हैं, एंड दिस इज ओनली अ फ्यू, देयर कैन बी मोर, और भी हो सकते हैं. डन. तो ये सारा काम, सारा वर्कलोड किस पे आ जाता है? ऑन टू अ ट्रेडिशनल सीपीयू. नाउ व्हेन सच हैवी टास्क इज गिवन टू अ सीपीयू, इट्स नॉट दैट द सीपीयू वुड फेल हियर. द सीपीयू वुड स्टिल वर्क, द सीपीयू वुड स्टिल परफॉर्म द गिवन टास्क, but relatively the speed will be reduced. The speed will be reduced, and as we have already studied, speed plays a crucial role in analyzing the performance and efficiency of a system. Now, speed compromise हो गया. This was the mere reason why we moved on to parallel processing. Let's draw the diagram, and then we would understand how traditional systems and how parallel processors are differentiated on the basis of their hardware. Now the same CPU is now now what we have done, the same CPU that we were using earlier, we have enhanced our hardware, and now we are using how many CPUs? 4 CPUs integrated on a same chip. Now let's go back to yesterday's class, and if you remember the word multi-core, not thread, multi-core. Multi-core. Now when we talk about multi-core, this means we have multiple machines working as one unit, and this is exactly what's happening here. Onto a singular chip we have installed how many CPUs? 4 CPUs, and now the same task, the heavy task called program is now divided into how many independent units? 4 units. Now I'll come to you. These independent units are known as threads. Now each CPU is responsible for carrying out or for solving how many thread? 1 thread. Now let's say thread number 1 was given to this one, thread number 2 to this, 3 to this, and 4 to this. Now what would happen? Now individual CPU unit will be responsible for carrying out how many instructions? Just 1 instruction. That is a part of a heavy program. Here we are assuming the heavy program to be a game. Now you will tell me if this part of the CPU is only responsible for audio aid, this is only responsible for calculations, this is only responsible for graphics, and this is only responsible for render. Not only the speed will be enhanced, but the overall efficiency will also be enhanced, right? Now this is how parallel processing is achieved. Now write a line for it. The whole phenomena is known as parallel processing. The whole phenomena is known as parallel processing as multiple threads are being executed at the same time. At the same time. मेक अ नोट राइट बीनीथ इट, ऐसे नोट करके लिख लो, नोट करके लिखो. दिस इज ओनली अचीव्ड, or you can write it as parallel processing is only achieved by increasing the hardware capacity, the hardware capacity. The hardware capacity. Done? Now, if we have to compare between the two, the traditional systems and the parallel processors, we would broadly compare the two onto the two grounds. Onto how many grounds? Two. Now, the two grounds are time and money, the two very important aspects. We all want our tasks to be accomplished within a limited time frame and with lesser resources. Imagine if you get better things at cheaper rate. Wouldn't it be the best scenario? Right? And this is exactly how we deal with parallel processors and traditional systems. But you would notice time kahan pe less hoga aur kahan pe more? Time taken here to execute one instruction will be more and here less. Cost, let's talk about money. Cost would be more this side and less this side. Now tell me, combination कैसा बन रहा है traditional systems के लिए? Cost is less, but the time consumed to execute one instruction is more. So this makes the traditional computer systems to be more suitable for everyday computational tasks. And on the contrary, the parallel processors are the most suitable for supercomputers and heavy tasks. This is how you will distinguish between the two. And again, the concept of supercomputers come. So parallel processor is merely associated with increasing the hardware capacity, and we would go for more hardware only when the computational requirement is more. And only in such cases, money investment sounds to be fair. Done? Chalo. This was all about the basics concept of parallel processing. Now let's move on to the organization method. Now when I talk about or when I say organization method, किसके organization की हम बात कर रहे हैं? ये organization की बात कर रहे हैं. This हमने बोला ना, एक chip पे we will mount so many CPUs all together, है ना? तो how this arrangement is done, how the overall hardware capacity is increased, is studied under the organizational part, and this becomes the very last topic of unit number 3. Done? Now write a line. Now organization just beneath this. Now organization of task and hardware components. Now organization of task and hardware components is important because it determines how efficiently we are able to achieve parallel processing. How efficiently we are able to achieve parallel processing. This would also determine how different threads are taken up and executed in real time. Are taken up and executed at the same time. Make a fresh heading, types of organization. Make a fresh heading, types of organization. Write a line. This determines arrangement of the CPU. This determines arrangement of the CPU in a way that parallel processing can be achieved. In a way that parallel processing can be achieved. Make a point and write SMP. SMP. Under the brackets, write the full form. SMP stands for symmetric microprocessor. Not micro, multi. Symmetric multiprocessor. Symmetric multiprocessor. Make a diagram along with me. With the help of the diagram only, we'll be determining what SMP is. Tell me when you are done. See, we have left the traditional systems behind and will only be talking about the multi-core systems, and the multi-core systems are the one that have multiple processors. Now here you can see we have written P how many times? 3 times. P stands for processors. C stands for cache memory, and M stands for memory, the main memory of the system. Write it down. P stands for, now I am using the word individual. P stands for individual processors. C stands for individual cache memories associated with a specific processor. C stands for cache memory, individual cache memory associated with a specific processor. And lastly, we have memory unit with individual memory of a processor. Memory unit with individual memory for a given processor. Now a question arises. You can see the direct connectivity between a processor and its cache, right? Now I am using the word individual for the memory also, but you can see the memory is connected through a bus. That doesn't make any difference. Alright, even though it seems as if the individual processor do not have its own memory, but this memory is associated with this processor, this memory is associated with this processor, and this memory is associated with this processor. So this way we have to understand, although processor, let's name them 1, 2 and 3. Now processor 1 do have its own cache, it do have its own memory unit. Now traveling time to main memory is a bit more, but it do have its own memory. Now how the traveling time is more? Because this cache memory is connected to a bus, and later on this bus is connected to the main memory unit, and that is how if this P1 needs to check upon or visit its own memory unit, it have to travel through bus. But otherwise it does have its own memory unit. Now the problem is each processor is assigned its own cache along with its own memory. Now a very common problem can be derived from here. Total isolation. Now since this processor have its own cache, its own memory, will it ever interfere in P1 or P2's work? No. Similarly, P1 and P2, since they do have their own cache and memory units, they will never interfere between the other processors working. Now this comes with its own advantages and disadvantages, and trust me, the flip side is very low. As in the advantages are many, but if we talk about the flip side, the bad side, it's very low. The problem is huge, and we will be coming on to that problem. But let us first understand how this whole system is working and why and when the problem will arise. Now, if I give small programs or not so heavy instructions to these computers, this is a computer arrangement, and if I go on giving it small programs or small instructions, there will never be a problem. Why? Because a small program comes in, it is assigned to, let's say, P1. P1 have its own resources, its own cache, its own memory. P1 is independent to execute that task on its own. Done. Task is completed, task is out of the queue. Let's say now 3 tasks comes up simultaneously. How many? 3. 3 tasks have been assigned their own personal processor. Even not a problem till now. Let's say how many tasks? 4 tasks are assigned. Okay, no problem. One will wait until one of the processor gets freed and then it will be assigned. See, there will never be a problem until the nature of these instructions is classified as small or tiny or not so huge, right? Since the nature of these instructions, it's not so heavy, the type of computational capacity is limited. They are not demanding for more resources or heavy computational resources. Till that time, no problem will be there and this system will function in its whole capacity to its best. Now the problem will come when instead of a small program, a heavy program comes in. Now we will understand how this is a huge problem, and problem is so huge, so practical, इतना day to day life में encounter होता था that SMP is almost no more in use. SMP is out of picture. SMP अब इतना use होता ही नहीं है. Now let us understand the problem. See a heavy task come. Threads are, let's say these are the threads of these heavy program only. A heavy program came in. We encountered that the computational requirement is more. If we try to handle the whole task at once, it will become a problem for us. Now the very first step that we took was we divided the same heavy program into smaller units called threads. Until now it's all cool. Until now everything is going well. Even let's say this thread was assigned to this, the next one to this and the next one to this. Even till now there is no problem. But let's say a thread is so huge. There comes another thread and this is so huge that at same time it was assigned to this, it was assigned to this and this one also. Or else the smaller programs, these programs are working on similar kind of data. Now only because there is complete isolation and let's say this is the data and this instruction is dependent on this data. So when this was assigned to this processor, उसके memory में ये data feed हो गया. Data is there, the processor is working on to this data. Next thread came in, this also requires this data. Another copy of this data is stored here. Now another thread comes in and it is also working on the same data. Again this data is stored into its own memory. The problem is huge. Why? Because same data is being stored at 3 different locations. This becomes what? This becomes the problem of duplicacy. And as the memory is consumed more, the speed, the efficiency will also be compromised. And again, when we talk about speed, again when we talk about efficiency, we are compromising the whole performance of a system. Right? Now this is known as cache coherency. Cache coherency. लिख लो इसको. Pen it down. If a huge instruction comes in, if a huge instruction have come in, copies of the same data is stored in multiple storage units. Copies of same data is stored in multiple storage unit. This becomes cache coherence. Cache coherence. Spelling on the board. Cache coherence. This not only makes the system slow. This not only makes the system slow, but also compromise the overall performance. Now no need to pen it down, but we all know कि यहाँ से क्या कहानी शुरू हो जाएगी. When we are talking about the degraded performance, we know again the time, है ना, the slower speed, the efficiency, all that would be reduced. अब ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कैसे हुई, है ना, अब वो सीखेंगे. द लास्ट पार्ट अंडर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. पेन इट डाउन. द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कैश कोहेरेंसी. द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कैश कोहेरेंसी is resolved by NUMA, N-U-M-A, all capital, is resolved by NUMA. NUMA stands for, under the brackets you can write, non-uniform memory access. Non-uniform memory access. Now just make a diagram with me. Now here also you can see there are multiple processors, right? All have their individual cache and individual memory unit. The only difference is the memory unit is connected to a network. Connected to a network. And what kind of network? Common shared network. लिख लो कहीं ब्रैकेट में alongside network. Memory units are connected to a common shared network. Common shared network. बिल्कुल लास्ट तक सेम स्टेप से जो हम पहले कर रहे थे, कोई टास्क आया, टास्क किसके पास आता है? प्रोसेसर के पास. प्रोसेसर ने क्या किया? अपने कैश को यूज करके उसने उस टास्क को परफॉर्म करना शुरू करा, सॉल्व करना शुरू करा. नाउ व्हाइल सॉल्विंग it required to manipulate the memory. Now as soon as the minutest manipulation is required into the memory, it was done, but same information was updated to the network. Now another task came to P2. P2 also made use of its own cache, try to write down or manipulate the memory. Memory is again connected to the same shared network, and the network says the copy of that data already exists with memory 1. No need to rewrite the same data. Now what will happen? The same duplicacy that was the problem earlier will never be a problem earlier. Network will always intervene in between. Network will always tell the processor that do not make any sort of change with your individual memory. Why? Because it might not be with you, but it does exist with the other processor's memory. And this is how the problem of cache currency is resolved. Done? Now let's talk about speed. कौन सा फास्ट होगा, कौन सा स्लो होगा? दिस वन वुड बी फास्टर. वाई फास्टर? बिकॉज देखो काम वैसे ही कर रहा है ना, बट वहां पे डुप्लीकेसी आने पे आप वो राइटिंग में, है ना, जो राइट ऑपरेशन होता है उसमें जो टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे थे वो यहाँ पे सेव हो जाएगा. दैट इज वन थिंग. नाउ अनदर थिंग, सिंस लेस मेमोरी इज ऑक्यूपाइड, स्पीड एंड एफिशिएंसी वुड बी मोर. Done? So whatever problems were encountered with SMP are resolved using NUMA. And this is why current multi-core processors आते हैं ना, हम लोग लैपटॉप लेने जाते हैं उसमें स्टिकर्स लगे देखते हैं बस multi-core, multi-thread. What are these concepts? These concepts are all related to this organization of your hardware. How your hardware is organized. Now if your hardware is organized to have multiple processors in an SMP organized manner, or another computer have multiple processors but organized with NUMA. Which one is better? NUMA, obviously. And NUMA has completely replaced your SMP technology. Done? चलो इसके बाद एक दो छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स हैं वो पेन डाउन कर लेते हैं. एंड टुडे हम लोग का आज का एजेंडा वुड बी ओवर. डन? Turn over the pages and make a fresh heading. Pen down multi-threading. Multi-threading. Now let's go back in time. Have I ever mentioned the term multi-threading? Or let's just put it a better way. Have you ever heard the term multi-threading? What does multi-threading means? हाँ, और एक जो सब इंस्ट्रक्शन है उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? थ्रेड बोलेंगे. So there comes a large instruction, there comes the sub instructions that are a part of that large instruction. Each sub instruction is known as a thread. अब इसको देखते हैं ये पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग कैसे अचीव करता है even with limited hardware. Even with limited hardware. Draw a diagram with me. The heading is multi-threading. SI here means sub instruction. Sub instruction 1, sub instruction 2 and sub instruction 3. Done? Now, if we take up multi-threading as a concept, multi-threading says a bigger instruction comes in, we divide it into smaller sub-instructions and that marks the, as one after the other a sub-instruction is resolved, we come to end of the instruction. This is the whole concept. Now, how this concept is achieved? Now, you see these tiny portions onto the CPU chip. What are these tiny portions? These are the individual control units. कहीं side में लिख लो. Within a CPU, there are multiple control units. There are multiple control units. See, CPU is one, control units are many. है ना, two or more. Earlier, with parallel processing, what we did was we deployed multiple CPUs. Here CPU is one, control units are many. So what would happen? This instruction comes in, S1 is given to this, S2 is given to this. One of the control unit gets free, S3 is assigned to that one and the whole instruction is executed. Done? This is it. Only this much is required for you guys. Now just pen down a line. Write down. Sub-instructions are given to multiple CUs, and then the CU is responsible for processing the sub-instructions parallelly and independently. Under the bracket, write one CPU but multiple control unit. One CPU but multiple control unit. Change the paragraph and write, no extra hardware cost is required. No extra hardware cost is required. And this is less complicated. So if I ask you, a multi-core system or a multi-threaded system, which one is better? Both are executing sub-instructions at same time? Independently? No. Independently. Which one is better? Requirement पे depend करता है. If the nature of instruction is normal to moderate, then the multi-threaded system will perform in a required ambit efficient manner, right? And if the nature of the task, and अभी applications पे आएंगे हम लोग, है ना, इसके applications भी देखेंगे ये कहाँ use हो रहा है और parallel processors भी कहाँ use हो रहे हैं, ठीक है? Although if you look from a unbiased eye, you would see that an instruction comes in, instruction is divided into sub instructions, each sub instruction is parallelly processed independently and the task is being done here also and there also. Here no extra hardware, there extra hardware, है ना? तो we will see the nature of the task. अभी तो broadly बोल रहे हैं ना task, we would see the nature of task. Done? This was all about multi-threading. Now one more term is there. Just need to understand the term. It says, make a fresh heading. It says clustering. Clustering. What does it look like? This is an eye. Does it look like eye? No. अपने आप बना लो जैसे eye बनती है. Now does it look like eye? No. चलो let's assume this is an eye. Now what is clustering? Clustering is nothing. Just hear me out, no need to pen down anything. इतनी डायग्राम से later on you will recall. और क्लस्टरिंग इंडिपेंडेंट टॉपिक नहीं है तो कोई नहीं पूछेगा, मल्टी थ्रेडिंग के रिलेशन में पूछ लेते हैं, ठीक है, तो ओनली द डेफिनेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड. नाउ क्लस्टरिंग इज व्हाट? क्लस्टरिंग इज a lot of independent PCs are assumed to work as one. Bas, this is it. If you look from again an unbiased eye, this would look like as if the system is huge, as if the resources, the hardware components that are deployed are huge. But again, they are what? They are independent units working together. This is it. This is all about क्लस्टरिंग. और ये कहाँ पे यूज होता है? मीडिया सर्वर्स में या इंडस्ट्रीज में. इसके एप्लीकेशन, क्लस्टरिंग के एप्लीकेशंस रियल लाइफ में नहीं मिलेंगे. दिस मच इज ओके. चलो, नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द वेरी लास्ट टॉपिक फॉर द डे एंड इट सेज द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ व्हाट ऑल वी हैव स्टडीड अप टिल नाउ. मेक अ फ्रेश हेडिंग एंड राइट एप्लीकेशंस. एप्लीकेशंस. राइट the first application as, अच्छा किसके एप्लीकेशन लिख रहे हैं हम? पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग के. पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग. द वेरी फर्स्ट एप्लीकेशन इज एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स. एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स. व्हाट इज एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स? प्लैनेट्स और स्टार्स का मूवमेंट. नाउ टेल मी व्हाट काइंड ऑफ टास्क इज इट? हेवी और मॉडरेट? हेवी. हेवी. Write down the next application. It says atmospheric and ocean modeling. Atmospheric and ocean modeling. Now, how all your oceans are tracked upon to their movements. That is all about atmospheric and oceanic movements. Again, a heavy task or not? Heavy task. Write down again the next CAD. CAD. Don't. CAD. CAD. What is CAD? Computer aided designs. कहाँ पे यूज होते हैं ये? With heavy graphics. DD. CAD. Computer aided designs. CAD. Again, these kind of softwares make use of heavy graphics. Now the next is military applications. Military applications. I read a documentary and it was so surprising that parliamentary attack, the Indian Parliament attack was carried out through Google Maps. The militants made use of Google Maps to carry out such a huge sort of attack. Imagine the kind of security the parliament have. If they could break through the parliament, are we safe? And we're talking about early 2000s, not anytime sooner. है ना? So military applications, even these kind of the satellite images can compromise the everyday security of citizens, of individuals like us. Go on. The next is VLSI design. What is VLSI? Very large scale integration. VLSI. And the last one, the last application is weather forecasting. Weather forecasting. Weather forecasting. Done? Done? Chalo. This was it. Now, what you all learned today? Primarily about parallel processor. The basic concepts of parallel processor. We started our class with comparing the parallel processor with the traditional systems. And then we talked about the organization of the hardware components. And how many hardware arrangements we studied? 2. SMP and NUMA. Which one is deployed till date? NUMA. SMP is sort of outdated. Now comes the next part, and that is clustering and multi-threading. Clustering and multi-threading are not independent topics in your syllabus. Again, I'm telling you guys. But then how and why, है ना, आज के क्लास में क्यों इंक्लूड करा? Only because आप अगर मल्टी प्रोसेसर्स को कंपेयर करोगे तो आप किससे करोगे? देखो, ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम से कंपेयर का कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. वाई? बिकॉज दे आर डीलिंग विद स्मॉल एवरीडे इंस्ट्रक्शंस. नाउ multi-threading systems, or let's say even clustering, all these systems also deal with heavy computational tasks. So the comparison is done between the alikes. Similar, the two systems that are implementing the heavy tasks, है ना, उसके बाद we concluded with the applications. और applications पढ़ते ही समझ में आ रहा है, the tasks are really heavy. They require a lot of computational capacity, and only because of this reason we have multiprocessing or NUMA sort of structures. We would continue tomorrow. Only one portion is left from unit number 3 part 2, and we will begin with unit number 4, the last unit, most probably next week.